Oh, hello, and welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. On this day, September 8th edition, on this day in 1910, the first Penn Station opened its doors. The writer Colson Whitehead, I think his name is, who wrote The Colossus of New York, said that you become a true New Yorker the first time you pass by something and say, "This used to be here." That's when you, no matter how long you, whenever you move here, that's the first time you become a true New Yorker. Is when you romanticize what's no longer here. The first Penn Station was a gleaming Beaux Arts building, considered one of the most stunning architectural achievements in New York City. Grand Central kind of paled in comparison, apparently. It was never supposed to happen. The powers that be, whether it was the Astors, all the like Gilded Age New York in the late 1800s, early 1900s, didn't want this to happen. They controlled what are now the rail lines for like Amtrak heading like up into New England, and they didn't want the competition of there being other train lines going into Manhattan in some other form. And they had the local government in their pocket, so the group that decided we're going to do this created a whole bunch of shell companies, buying up each one of the pieces of property in the area, like the footprint of where Penn Station eventually was built, under different names. And that area was called the Tenderloin District at the time, which was kind of like the red light district. And so they created all these different companies where they bought individually like all these properties until eventually they owned everything in the area, like they won at Monopoly basically, and said, "Oh, actually, surprise! We now own the land, and we're going to build Penn Station." People often look back longingly on what used to be, but it got torn down because in like the 50s, maybe the early 60s, nobody was keeping up with this. This was before like the push to save classic buildings was really in place yet. So it was just like an eyesore. And you look at like pictures from this time, and it's just garbage everywhere and like empty stores. Probably a lot like now. Yeah. I guess that, businesses weren't open, or similar to now. Many businesses are shuttered. Speaking of the business, on this day in 1959, Mickey Fitz from the business was born. Very happy to say I got to see the business a bunch of times. I feel like they're one of those bands that just kept coming over in like the mid 90s and late 90s. Even though for some reason like they love New York hardcore. Maybe they thought that was like the next thing. I don't know. Whatever it was, they really loved New York and kept coming back. So wasn't I lucky? Also on this day in 1966, the first Star Trek series premiered, a show that also really means business. And what are you going to do today? I'm going to put on some original Star Trek and just enjoy. Yeah. You? Whatever you're going to do, I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.